Hello and welcome in the new year 2021. I'm Friederike, I'm Editor-in-Chief of the Cloud Report, and today I'm talking again with the maintainer of the VanillaStack project, CEO of Cloudical, Carsten Damaschke, and CTO of Cloudical, Kim Norman Sam. And what is new in the project VanillaStack?
So what's new in the project VanillaStack? At the moment, current release is, there's many parts shifting at the moment. We are focused more on stability in regards of new features. There are some new small features available in regards to security, for example, fail to ban to harden systems more. Other features like this. We have a lot of tasks done into the installer and the manager. Some parts shifting from installer to the manager, like OpenStack and Cloud Foundry. So the installer is more focused on the real core components like Kubernetes, storage, and logging monitoring, and all other features like IaaS, like Pask. They are available in the manager and can be installed by using the manager or done the complete installation by Ansible. Then these features are directly available.
Adding to what Kim just said, we also did to some extent, a fundamental decision that is going to be effective over the next months, I guess, but we started doing that. A very major aspect of what VanillaStack stands for is the freedom of bringing your own Linux. And we truly love that. Issue with that is basically that we are actually forced to support many different kind of environments and many different kind of installations at the same time. That is something that is that turned out not to be very sustainable. So what we are going to do is we will, going forward, focus on one underlying distribution, which is going to be Debian. And from that point, basically Debian will be our main supported solution and distribution we are working with, but we will still be committed to be open towards other Linux distributions, which basically is then reflected by the fact that we are on a source code basis provide branches for different distributions which need to be maintained by the community. Those maintainers will get all of our support there, obviously, but we, going forward, will start focusing more on making VanillaStack available on Debian distributions or based on Debian, instead of supporting, for example, CentOS actively in the future. There is another reason for that, which is basically the decision by Red Hat to discontinue CentOS in the current way, which makes it very hard for us to keep track with a rolling distribution. So decision is basically we will definitely give installation support for CentOS-based environments. The same is true for Fedora-based environments, OpenSUSE-based environments, and so on and so forth. But we will focus more on a Debian-based environment and a Debian-based ecosystem. That gives us more focus, and our customers basically more reliability in a rollout process, which we feel like is very important going forward.
VanillaStack is providing own repositories for Debian. So all the package compatibility is tested by ourselves, and we are providing a lot of Python 3 precompiled packages to speed up the installation process in regards of the old way to use pip to install Python packages.
So the turnout then will be that VanillaStack is installing easier on Debian-based systems. Another aspect which is very important to us is that Debian is the community-driven distribution. And since we are a community-driven Kubernetes distribution, we feel like that is very important. So the goals and the approaches match up with each other. And that is very important to us. That is, again, no turning away from other platforms, from other distributions, but instead more focusing providing more reliability, and basically improving the setup experience for VanillaStack going forward.
But VanillaStack stays roll outable. I don't know if this is a proper word in English, but on every Linux.
As of now, and with the current version, yes, because we won't take away from what we have now. But again, going forward, our major goal is to roll it out and make it available on Debian-based systems. So if you happen to have, for example, or happen to want to run it on a CentOS-based system or on a Fedora-based system, for example, you would work that out yourself. You can easily do that ultimately because all the sources are available. And that's basically how many projects actually work within the Linux environment. There needs to be some sort of contributor in place, some person, some group that declares responsible. And we will basically support them wherever we can. So could be that it is as simple as just mounting the Docker image and running it on a CentOS or Fedora-based system going forward. But we would expect some community work to be involved there to make it easily available on those systems. But to be honest, we don't see that as some sort of a major drawback or whatever, because ultimately, when you set up such an environment for Kubernetes as VanillaStack is, you would typically set up your virtual machines or your machines from scratch. So you would then basically just pick Debian instead of CentOS or Fedora. And since our installation process is basically centered around making it as simple and easy for you as possible, either using our installer or using our Ansible-based scripts, you would be in touch with the Fedora ecosystem, just for a short amount of time. From a operational perspective, from an operations team's perspective, that is a very minor change. But to us, it is very important because it allows us to focus our efforts better and to ensure that whenever you want to roll out something, the whole platform, the whole stack is easily to be rolled out there. So that is very important to us. It can run on other platforms, but somebody has to do the work. We will support it. Perhaps we do that, but we focus more on Debian going forward.
Okay, I understand. In the beginning, Kim, you mentioned that some tools are shifting into the manager. Yeah. One great advantage of the VanillaStack was the easy rollout of OpenStacks, for example. Will it also be easy to roll out OpenStack via the manager?
Sure, it's like the same. Adding new application, OpenStack, and then the default wizard. It's just the idea is more to keep the installer smaller and easier for new users. They are mostly interested on container platforms instead of infrastructure as a service or Cloud Foundry platforms. So the idea is limit is the wrong word. Minimize the complexity of the installer to the real base system, the real core system, and then use the manager for all the life cycle, for the housekeeping, for adding, removing, changing applications on top of VanillaStack.
Basically, the idea is, again, and what we always wanted to do is to provide our clients with a working and production-grade system. And that idea is completely unchanged. Instead, we actually take away things that might distract people, as Kim already pointed out. So basically, that is not a change in direction. That's just a change in tooling. We always intended to set up and roll out the manager. And frankly, it would not make sense to have it doubled, like one time in the manager and one time in the installer. The installer is for rolling out the platform. period, including the manager. And the manager is for rolling out additional workloads. There will some applications and workloads remain within the installer, such as Rook, such as Prometheus, and so on and so forth. Because those are the basic components you need to have a viable and running system out of the box. Others, as Kim said, as Cloud Foundry or OpenStack, will be moved into the manager. So if you are just interested in setting up a great and awesome Kubernetes environment, well, you are not even presented with OpenStack, Cloud Foundry, and so on and so forth. There is another aspect in that. Again, we want to embrace the idea of having a true ecosystem there. Going forward, for example, we plan to integrate GitLab, for example, in the platform. We plan to integrate Jenkins in the platform. If we would integrate all of those things in the installer, it would basically just make the installer a huge thing. You would always have to select things, although you might not even be sure whether it is the right decision or whether you want to do that. So just install the basic system and then use the manager to roll out and to undeploy your workloads according to your needs. So it makes things easier to understand. It is a more logical approach then. And again, as Kim also pointed out, it helps us focusing a bit more on the different components with their different intentions. So the installer is going to profit from that. The manager is going to benefit from that. And the customer ultimately will benefit from that as well, because again, the installation process might even be faster. It is less error prone because there are less things in there. And when we want to, for example, roll out OpenStack, there is just one single source of truth for that, and that is the manager application. And most often, speaking of a use case perspective, most often, as Kim already pointed out, customers want to roll out a working Kubernetes environment with, for example, KubeVirt support, which is directly there by just utilizing our installer or utilizing the infrastructure as code approaches that we build everything upon. So we don't take away anything, not at all. Instead, we reorganize things a little bit more in a way that allows us to grow, that allows for better maintainability, and that allows the customers to I don't know, work a little bit more logical with the platform then.
Mm-hmm.
One last question. For now, the Polyverse tool for polymorphing is included in the installer. Is this also shifting into the manager, or will this be one of the core applications?
Will be part of the installer because the Polyverse tool is used for managing secure packages on the base system, and it makes no sense install from an, in quote, untrusted source and then reinstall your packages from a trusted source. This is why we say, okay, let's keep it in the installer.
Yeah, and that same kind of thinking that Kim just presented is going to be there and going to be present going forward as well. So the next one of the major things we want to focus upon with VanillaStack is a secure environment as well. So going forward, we will integrate more platforms and more solutions into our platform. And with each and every integration, we will ask ourselves, is that something that might affect the whole platform, for example, as it is true with Polyverse, which is affecting the underlying Linux environments by polymorphing the platform, the packages? Or is it something that is more on the Kubernetes side of things? And then if it's just, in quotation marks, just on the Kubernetes side of things, it would make sense to have that in the manager, so you can roll it out whenever you like, and you can take that away whenever you like. But something affecting the whole platform is something very substantial, something very fundamental, and that needs to be placed inside the installer application. So we have to do that kind of thinking all the time. There will be new additions to the installer. There will be new additions to the manager. But basically the idea is installer is responsible for a base system. Manager is responsible for all your additional workloads, for all your additional fun you want to have with the platform. So basically, we hope that clarifies a bit when things come into the installer and when things might come into the manager application.
So a lot of things happened in the last month and will happen in the future. Yeah. Anything you forgot?
Obviously, we cannot have anything forgotten because we are very awesomely prepared for that interview. No, but the point is, the platform is ever evolving and ever changing. And I just want to say one thing. We, as the maintainers and Cloudical as the company backing VanillaStack, we've learned many, many things over the past months. Feedback from our customers, additional functionality that they want to see inside the platform. And we are very, very grateful for that. And that is basically something that is very important to us, that kind of community that we've created around VanillaStack, and that kind of collaboration spirit. And we just want to ask everyone to participate in the community and to push things forward jointly with us, because VanillaStack, frankly, is the only true open Kubernetes distribution. And by the way, that is something that needs to be said. VanillaStack is a certified Kubernetes distribution. So if you ask us whether we forgot something, well, we forgot to mention that. We are now a certified Kubernetes distribution, and we basically just stay true to the roots of the stack, and that is pure and unchanged Kubernetes. So if you want to work with the most natural platform for Kubernetes, use ours, because it is the most natural platform.
Great. Then thank you. And see you next time when the next news about the VanillaStack are arising.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.